We set the company up in 1983 and we moved into a small factory unit and then just the two of us, and then we employed somebody and the business got bigger and bigger. SMTS is a company that makes models for people who really know what we're making, or we do commercial products.
I'm a pattern maker and for SMTS, and generally my job starts off as getting information and pictures, etc., and making the car, boat, plane, any particular scale model that people ask for or the company want at the time. So basically I will carve the body and make all the parts out of brass. Depending on how large the scale is, you get obviously more, the larger the scale, more detail, etc., more parts. We've started moving into 3D printing as well now, and you can see the Jensen being manipulated on the screen. I can use this to draw the parts mainly. It's more accurate, the parts fit better, and we do find eventually that it should be faster in the long run. Generally they start off as a basic wireframe, as you can see, with the smaller polygons. I will add to that a subdivision surface to make it smoother. Therefore I can get obviously a much better finish, but I can't draw it in the small squares. I'd have to draw it in the larger polygons and work my way from there. As the 3D drawing gets finished, it will be saved as an STL file, and then that STL file will be used to go to the 3D printers, and it will be printed in whatever material we deem necessary for it to be made. Could be resin, metal generally, varying amounts of different 3D printers. We mainly work with SLS, which is selective laser sintering, which is a nylon. It's very strong, harder to work with, but more versatile.
I do a preliminary layout which changes 2 or 3 times, and then sometimes when it goes into the mould itself it changes again. And then I'll take a photograph of the layout that I've done, that I think that is the closest that I want from that, and then I'll refer back to the picture, but as I'm making it I will change it again because it becomes more obvious how I need it to be. The moulds are made upside down. That's just the way they're done. So like a body is upside down, so it's gravity that also assists the metal going in. They're mounted on a rubber disc. The rubber is sculpted into place and the edges are sealed. Then the mould is built up from that. It then goes into a vulcanizing press and it's heated and compressed. Hopefully when you open it, you have nice impressions in the mould. If I'm doing a body mould, that can take anything up to 2 days, maybe 2.5 days. Paint has to be mixed properly and it's done by weight. It's all weighed out individually and then you get an accumulative weight on the scales. Everybody sprays slightly differently and it's what works for them, but it's coverage and consistency and not too wet because you don't want it sagging and blobbing and all the rest of it, but you don't want it too dry because you don't want it coming out like sandpaper. That's a full setting, and you can have what they call a flash-off setting, which is not quite so hot. The red colour is because it's infrared, and it's to harden the paint off so it is not wet anymore on the surface. Behind those filters there is a fan which extracts the air from the booth so that any overspray and smell and all the rest of it is taken away. The overspray is held in those filters. The bright work on the car, the chrome, we have nickel plated because if you chrome the parts, which is we've done in the past, it looks over scale. And also chrome has got a slight blue tinge to it and it looks terrible on models. So we use nickel plated. Now they have to be wired. The wire is on copper wire. They're either wrapped around the parts in a certain way because the wire will mark it if you don't get it in the right place, or they're soldered in place and then they go off to the platers, which is in South London, and they're electroplated. They put copper on and then they put the nickel on top of the copper, and the result is quite spectacular.
Yeah, fitting the decals or water slide transfers is something that comes with experience. You just learn to play with the materials and get it to flow and put them where you want them. I've been doing it for 35 years, so I wouldn't like to count how many aeroplanes I've put decals on. You're transforming the model from a blob into something that has got character. It's an instant gratification, really. I enjoy doing it. I never tire of putting decals on. So I really enjoy it. People are starting to respect the effort that we put into making the models, and that they're each individually handmade by people who are enthusiastic about them. The models have to be accurate because in many cases they know more about it than we do. And really it's a heritage product. We're selling people's memories. Most of the models we make of cars are for subjects that people liked when they were in their late teens, early 20s. And the same with the aircraft. It's all about the aeroplanes that you remember when you were growing up. Things were always better in those days. And that's what we make.